certainly has been an illustrious career. Didier Drogba calling his time on his career at 40 years old. Gents, when we look at that, I mean, not that we need a reminding about what a wonderful player he was, just really reaffirms, doesn't it, how good he was?
Oh, I think he almost defined the modern day number 9's role in terms of playing up there on your own. We've had a lot of brilliant strikers over the last 20 years playing on these shores, but sometimes as a pair, or sometimes with others, or with a particular player in and around them. Whereas Drogba kind of was that one that sort of almost you just knew where he was. He could also run the gullies. He held it up. He scored brilliant goals, left foot, right foot, in the area when he, as we just saw on some of those, like almost unplayable when he was at his very best. Could come back and defend the near post for you and stick his head on things. When just had absolutely everything, and a phenomenal player, wonderful player.
When Andy says he had everything, I mean, if you were ticking a box about building a perfect football, I mean, the power, the presence, the pace, the ability, there's a lot went right just putting Didier Drogba together, didn't it?
Just a picture of him, because he was so, he was so good in all facets of his game. As you say, Andy said there about his link-up play was sensational. You get him on the far post against centre-halves, no one could beat him in the air. Physically very strong, looked after himself, was a real athlete, quick, scored goals in big games, scored goals in Champions League finals, FA Cup finals. Arsene Wenger's, his quote there was absolutely spot on. When saying, about we'll certainly missed him because he'd done damage against us, and that was Didier Drogba in the biggest of games when you wanted a centre forward to stand up and torment centre halves. He was your man. He would be your go-to man.
Would you have had Henry or Drogba? Because I'd have had Henry. I think Henry's been the best we've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's come and plied their trade in the Premier League.
I just think there's loads of guys when you have the conversation about the top 10 or the top 12, whatever, and Zola's in there and people like Dennis Bergkamp, you go, number 10s. Then you start mentioning number 9s and you go Thierry Henry, but done a lot of his work out the left-hand side and was ridiculously good at it. But I don't think there's been anyone like Drogba. As that number 9, if you had to paint a picture of a number 9, it would be Drogba. Just because of the way that he played the game and how he occupied the complete back four at times.
And you mentioned about him being a big game player. His trophy haul certainly backs that up, doesn't it? I mean, what is accrued, second only to former teammate Petr Cech.
Incredible.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
No, it is. I mean, that's why. And it doesn't make you a wonderful player having a trophy haul, but it certainly helps. and I think with Didier Drogba, as I said, he scored in the biggest games. In my mind, when I think of him, I don't think of a guy that, when a team was winning and bullying teams by 3 and 4, he'd end up with a hat-trick. He scored goals against the biggest sides.
I think that's the thing, in that trophy haul, he would have been significant in those. I think he was a significant player, that when his team needed him to step up, he wasn't one that you looked at and thought, oh, where was he today? He weren't there. Yeah. He was always there. He was always there or thereabouts. I used to love watching him play. And I remember when Anelka played with him for a bit. I think they played as a 2 for a little bit.
That's a powerful pair, isn't it?
But you know what? Whenever something happened and Drogba found himself slightly in a wide position and Anelka was always up the middle, every night you'd see him go, wait.
And full rank.
And all of a sudden he'd be back into his slot, back in the middle. Yeah, get out there, you, and you get over there and knock it up to me.
And you mentioned about where perhaps he'd come on the all-time list of overseas players. I mean, if you look at it from a purely goal-scoring point of view, he's 9th on a list of very kind of stellar names, isn't he?
Oh, right, OK, of course, yeah. Some of those guys there, I don't know. Some of those guys there, I would imagine, have been around here, have played here for more seasons. Well, look, there's some illustrious names in there. There really are. There's some brilliant names. I mean, Nicolas Anelka, for him to have scored another 20-plus goals than Drogba is a fantastic achievement. But Anelka, obviously, with Arsenal, with Liverpool, with City, with Bolton, I don't know whoever else there was, but might have been around a little bit more.
That's the only thing. It's a time thing, isn't it? How long did he spend on these?
I'm not sure how many seasons Drogba had. I don't know.
No.
Would it have been 6?
Well, you're looking at Anelka and you're thinking, what, 4 or 5 Premier League clubs?
Yeah.
A lot of players on that list have been over here for a long, long time. Kun Aguero obviously still going, but I just watch him and I say it when I'm commentating on some players, and Diego Costa comes to mind, where even if you're not scoring goals, you still have an impact on how your team performs. And Costa's one of them. But I think you times that by 2 with Drogba. I think his all-round game is better. His mentality's better. I think he's stronger. I think
Scored every type of goal,
Yeah.
Drogba, didn't he? Free kicks. Again, we saw him.
he had that Ronaldo free
He
kick
had
to
that
his game
big sort of
later on, didn't he?
side-footed one, yeah, where he could get it up and down over a wall, and again.
But I tell you,
every
if you
sort
ask
of goal.
someone like Frank Lampard on how many goals Frank got because of Didier, I bet you Frank could rattle off about 50 of them, because that was the type of centre forward he was. Didn't have to score in every single game, but I bet you, I bet you, when Jose was picking a side, he was the first man on it.
You talk about the kind of goals that he scored, and this is a wonderful tweet that we've had in about, and we like this when we look at different players from slightly different eras. At his peak, how much would Didier Drogba be worth in today's market?
I mean, not as much as
I'm going to write down.
I mean, not as
huge number on that.
I mean, not as much as Mirandinha at Newcastle. That's well before your time.
Mirandinha.
You might remember him,
I remember
Brazilian, first
Mirandinha.
Brazilian in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Oh, he'd be. I mean, Drogba, what, Andy? What would he be?
Oh, he's
150?
100. Yeah, he's into 100
In
plus.
his prime?
In his prime. I mean, if you was buying... Chelsea, I think, paid something like 23 or 24, 5 million quid for him from Marseille when they got him. So if they were paying for... If you were buying a Didier Drogba now...
A ready-made
one
number
at his
9,
age,
26, 27,
you're
25.
You're well over 100 million.
We can't afford him in here.
No.
We can't afford him in here. No.
I'd always seem to play with a real zest for the game, didn't he? Smile on his face.
Exactly.
Maybe histrionical at times, but that's part of what he did, wasn't it?
He had his moments, but I think that the team was designed beautifully for him. They had great success at that time, Chelsea, in that period under Jose. Had a fabulously balanced Chelsea team with experience, power, and real quality in amongst it also. And Drogba was right at the top of that. Everyone always talks about the spine of any great side, and that Chelsea team with Terry, with Cech, with Lampard, with Drogba was brilliant. That was a great Chelsea team to watch.
And obviously with Jose Mourinho at his peak as well, the perfect storm.
Yeah.
But we could debate this all night, couldn't we? Let's picking him out the air. It'd be worth a hell of a lot of money.